how to achieve filtering in Lightning Web Component. Let's go to our VS Code and let's create a component, and we'll give this name filtering sorting demo. Sorting will do it in the next video. In this video, our main focus is on the filtering part. To filter the data, we need a data basically. So let's create an Apex class from where we will get some data. So let's go and create class. I'll give this name contact controller. Now my Apex class is ready. Let's create a method here. I'll say public static. I want the return type of contact. My method name is get contact list. Get contacts list and contact list. Make it contact list. Will return ID, name, title, and email. Write a query. Select ID, title, email from contact list. And to make this method visible to Lightning Web Component, we have to annotate this aura enabled. Aura enabled cacheable. Now let's go and import this method, our component that we have created, filter and sorting demo. The JS file, I'll say import method name from @Salesforce Apex, then your class name, contact controller, and then your method name, that is get contact list. Now our next step is to call this method, and to call this we're going to use a wire service. Pass the method name to a wire, and to use the wire, put the wire from the LWC, and here we'll use wire as a function. So we'll say contact handler. My function name is data and error. Say full.log data and only console if data is there. So pull inside the if error is there, and now it will print the data. And let's go to HTML and quickly create a lightning card. Give the title demo, and to be more precise, it's a client side filter. We are not writing any calling Apex to filter the data. We are doing the filtering at the CS level only. And here we'll say give class. I'm adding some padding around my card. Come here and let's deploy this. And before deploying this, add the targets. Is exposed. Set the target as lightning app. So let's deploy this now. So now it's deployed. I'm back to my app 0 to hero in LWC. I have already created a lightning page, filtering and sorting. So let's edit this page and place our component tab page. I'll search here filtering sorting demo. Add that component canvas area. Let's hit save. Back. And now you can see our component is built successfully. Now if we go to the console, check are we getting the correct data or not. For filtering and sorting demo, here on the right hand side you can confirm the file name, and then the console, it's printing the 21 records of contact, and it's returning each record, sending us email, ID, name, title. These are heading as well. So let's go and first create a heading property. Headings is ID. Then we have name, title, and email. This is our headings, and we can store the data to a property, and I'll say full data. I initialize it with the empty array. Say dot table data. Once we get the data, we'll push it into the full table data. I want another property here. I'll call it as filtered data. And I'll initialize it with the empty array again, and I'll store the data that is coming again. Filter data. Like first time we push it to the full table data, and second time I push it to filter data. And now I'm gonna use this filter data and headings to create a table. So let's go to our HTML and create a table. Table structure is very easy. Table start with a table tag. And here I'm not using a lightning data table because I thought let's learn the normal table as well. In my other videos, I already explained you how the lightning data table works. It takes t head and t body. So t head represent the table heading and t body represent the table body. Heading always contain a single row, that is tr. Table body contains multiple row based on the number of rows you want to show in the body. Then each table row contain under the head contain table heading, that is th. It can be many based on the number of columns you want to show. And inside the table body, each row contain table data, that is t. That's the basic structure of a table. And what we want multiple heading and multiple row, right? So let's run the loop, generate the multiple heading first. So I'll say template for each, and we are running the loop on the headings that we have. The headings for item, so each heading we call it as heading, and under this loop we'll place our th tag. And inside the for each, the most important thing is the key, and our heading is unique every time, so we'll keep heading as our key, and under the th tag we'll print our heading as well. And I'll copy the same syntax, paste it below. And now here we want to run the loop for the row. I'll cut this row and place it inside the loop, and our loop will not run on the heading. Our loop run on the filtered data, and I'll say this each item as data, and I'll say is data.id. Under the table data we want 4 columns, so because we have 4 headings, id, name, title, and email, and we'll print the same way. So we'll say data.id, data.name, data.title, and data.email. So this will create our table now. Let's go and deploy and see if we are able to put the data in the table correctly or not. So now it's deployed. Let's page the console now. Now you can see that it's coming in the table format, but it's not properly aligned. So let's add some CSS as well. Go and add it here only. Let's see how we can style it. I'll right click, go to inspect, and I'll go to the table tag here, and I'll say border collapse as collapse. I'll say width always should be 100%. Then to the table data or table heading, first let's make the table heading. We'll say each table heading should have a border 1 pixel solid. Instead of black we can give grayish color, so we'll say DDD. The text should always be aligned to left, that any there, but it's add this property. And we'll say some padding as well, so our text not pressed to the border. So the padding 8 pixel, and the same properties we can add it to all the catch as well as our T row. Pretty cleaner. Similarly, if I do it quickly for TD as well, only for first row we will try to visualize it. The rest will place this inside the CSS file, and now it's totally fine. So let's go and place this CSS quickly. And to add the CSS, we'll create a new file with the same component name, filtering, sorting, demo.this. And here, first thing we want to apply the style for table tag. For that, I already showed you border collapse, width always be 100%. Then I want to apply the style for TD as well as TH tag. Style was border 1 pixel solid T. Then we were doing text align left. Then we were adding 8 pixel, and we can add one more class, that is each row should be of different color, like alternative color. Even should be of different color, and the odd rows will be of different color. So we can use nth child. If it's even, the background color should DTT by this. So for even, grayish color; for odd, it will be of white color. So let's deploy and see whether our styling is applying properly or not. It's deployed. Let's page in. Now we refresh the page, and now you can see that our table is looking pretty good. We have the heading, we have the rows, and each alternative row, so our all even rows are of grayish color. This time background color is grayish, that is hash triple D. And now this is the base setup. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a input field on the top, and on type of something in that field we will filter our table. So let's go to our VS Code and create the input field. Let's go to HTML, and inside the HTML above the table, what we're going to do, we'll assign a layout. So we'll say lightning layout. Under the lightning layout, we'll have lightning layout item. We'll take size 4, say padding round small. Close this lightning layout. And now we want to add the input field. Within these tags, we're gonna create a lightning input field. Lightning input type should be text, and we'll give the label filter, and on key up the handler. Close this lightning input tag, and I'll correct this label spelling. So now we have created the lightning input, and we have the filter handler here. Every time you key up or type something in this field, this handler gets called up. And let's go to our JS file and create the filter handler. So below the wire function, I'll create a handler, filter handler. It will receive an event, and whatever you type, it print in the form of event.target.value. So here we'll object destructuring will destructure the value property from event.target, and whatever you will type here. So let's console the value. Let's deploy, see whether the input coming, and on typing something whether the value is printing or not. And it's deployed. Let's refresh the page, and here our filter is there. Open the inspect by clear the console first, and if I type something here, I'll say hello, so it's immediately printing our console. So that's good. So our input field is working fine, our typing is working fine, it's printing the value, that is also fine. So now what we want is whenever the user types something here, it will filter the row based on that. And to do that, what we can do is we'll say first we always the filter data based on the full table data. Okay, so this is the source of truth for us. We are never updating this data that we are storing the full table data. We only rendering the data of filter data. So we always run the filtering on the original data, that is full table data. We'll say run the filter on the full table data. It will take each record at a time. So we'll say each object, we'll pick it up, and then what it will do is, what we want is it should filter in all the properties. Okay, that's our first task. Whatever you type in a filter, it will search whether it's available in ID, name, title, or email. And for that, what we're gonna do is we'll say, and first we'll find object dot keys, and we'll pick it up all the keys from the each object. Object dot keys is a method that returns the keys of the object, and then we're gonna run the sum method that will go to each key basically. So this object dot key is nothing, it's equivalent to this. It will return this. Okay, object dot key will return this, and it will pick up ID first, then name second, then title and email. It run the sum loop, and we'll say key. Each key is ID, name, title and email, and then it will go inside and say each object dot that key name. So each object, like object dot ID, object dot name, it will go there. It will convert that into a to lowercase, and then what we're gonna do is once it's converted to two lowercase, we'll say it includes the value that we have typed or not. So the loop is very simple. We are running the filter method. Filter method do the filtering based on the expression if it's true or false. Some method always return true or false. If it match something, it will return true, otherwise it returns false. We are running the sum loop on the all the keys, and it will take each key at a time. It will go inside the object and check first id has something that you have typed here in the value property, and if that value is included in that id, then return true, otherwise it will go to name. If that value you have typed is available in the name property, then it will return true, otherwise false. Then again it will go to title. Like this it will work. And the beauty of sum is it returns true and false, and as soon as you return true, the filter return the whole object. Once the whole object comes back, then we have to update our filter data. And as soon as we update the filter data, our table re-rendered. And let's go and check that if it's working or not. Let's deploy this. Go and refresh the page. And now if I type 0, because 0 hero is there, so I'll say ZE. So now you see it immediately doing the filtering here. And if I go back, it's giving us all the names that has there, either in ID, name, title, or in. If I type SVP, let's see. Now it's not working. Reason is because if there is no value, it will break. Because when the value comes empty, this will always fails. What we have to do is another check we have to implement here. Will say if value is there, then only run this condition, and if value is not there, your filter data should always be equal to full data, and we'll not assign it directly. We'll take a copy of full data and assign it to filter data. Let's go and test it again. So this is the scenario in which you will test in each and every column or each and every property of an object and check whether the value that you have typed is available or included in that or not. Let's go and refresh the page. And let's type S. Now you see all the title with SVP is coming. If I remove P and V, now all S coming. And if I completely remove everything, it will still render the whole table because the value is empty, and whenever value is empty, it will go to else condition and it will the whole table again to the filter data. So that's how filtering works. But in some time in projects, you have a scenario based on few few key only you have to filter it out. So let's go and tackle that scenario as well. But one more thing I want to highlight here before that. So if you go back and let's open the console, because this is filtering is working fine, but it's not an optimized way. So let's make it optimized. So if I type something here, I'll say ROSE rows. So in the console, it's printing and it's calling the method 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because we are typing a long word, it definitely takes time for us to type it, right? So calling the method 4 times immediately is not a sensible solution, or running the loop 4 times is not a sensible solution. So what we can do is we can do a debouncing, which means we will give some delay to run the function. Okay, let's go and add some delay here. So for delay, I'll create a property on the top is timer. And here we're gonna use set timeout for the delay. And inside the value, I'll say this dot timer equal to window dot set timeout. You can use set timeout without window, but it's a window property, so it's always good to type with along with window, and then I'll say takes the callback. And here as a second parameter you have to define that delay, how much delay you want to give before executing this callback. So we'll say it should take 500 milliseconds, and we'll place our whole logic inside this set timeout, and we'll place our value as well inside this set timeout time, just to make sure after how frequently this value is printing. And what we want is if you type suppose A first, it immediately start the set timeout, but immediately you print the next character B. I want to cancel this timeout and run the new timeout. And to cancel that, we have another trick, window dot clear timeout and the timer function reference. This dot timer. So what will happen? Suppose you type initially A, it comes here, it says okay the timer is there. If it's there, cancel it, initialize this timer again, and immediately if I call it B, it says okay timer is already there, cancel it, somebody typed another character. But this third time I didn't type anything, so it will immediately come and after 500 millisecond execute function. That's an optimized way to handle the filtering. Let's deploy and see this as well. The page again. Let me clean the console and let's start typing. So, and now if you go in the console, it print or the value only once. So that's how we optimize our function with the debouncing technique. And debouncing is nothing, just giving some delay to call a function. So now this is a perfect function, test your filtering. Now we will go to another scenario in the real-time project we usually face. We want to filter only by name. My filtering should work only by name, only by title, or only by email. So let's go and tackle that scenario. And for that, what we're going to do is we'll create a combo box. But for creating the combo box, we need the value for the combo box. We'll say get filter by options and return. And here I'll print some combo box label and value. And I'm using the label and the value as the same key and value, that is our heading or the properties of the data that we are getting. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to our HTML and create a combo box. So now I'm using a multiple layout items. So here I have to say multiple rows. So here we are not using multiple rows, we are about this. So here what I'm gonna do instead of lightning input, in the first place I'll make it the size 2 and I'll say lightning combo box, name is by, my value is by, I want label be by, and I need options filter by options, render this, and on change we're gonna call filter by enter. Those are combo box, this double equal. So now we have created a combo box. Combo box render the list that we have created here under our getter, and whenever we select something it will call the filter by handler. So let's go and create filter by handler below our getter, and filter by handler, what we're gonna do, it will receive an event, and in HTML we are using a property filter by, So on the top, we will initialize a filter by property, and we'll say always start filtering only in the name field. And here what we're gonna do, we'll say whenever change something, update the filter by based on the value that you have selected. Now we have a combo box. What we want is, now let's deploy this first. Let's see how it looks. Now let's page, and now you can see that there is a combo box like name, ID, title, email, and by default name is selected because we have initialized the filter by property as name, and we want whenever the user types something here, it should filter based on the criteria that you have selected, filter by name, title, email. In the previous demo I showed you like how you can filter irrespective of the filter by option. So that was a free text filter. It will go to the each property and filter the text, but I want to restrict my filter now based on the filter by value. So let's go and update the filter. So whatever be the property, it will store in the filter by property, right? So if you select ID, then it will store in the filter by. If you select name, then it will store in the filter by. So let's go to our main function, and here I'll just comment say so logic filter every property of object. I'll comment this out. Now we are filtering based on the value that you have selected filter by. Here what we're gonna do here also, it's very simple. We'll fetch the value from an object. So we'll say each object give me the value of dot filter by. So filter by whatever you have selected. If you selected name, so object dot name. If you selected title, object dot title. And we'll check whether the value is available or not. If value is available, return that, otherwise return an empty string. And if once we get the value, gonna run the same logic, value dot lowercase, and it's always good to convert the lowercase or to uppercase all your string for the search for the filtering functionality. Check whether that string includes the value that you have typed. How it works. And if you want to check this logic as well, you can create another property here with the label all. So whenever you select all, it will search in the all condition, and that's another. So if you want, I'll add that as well. Label all. I'll say all. If condition here will filter by liquid all, then run our logic. Else run this logic. That's another trick to handle this. Let's deploy and see if it works or not. Test the page. So now here now you can see all is coming. ID is their name. So by default it's name filter. So here let's type something from the title. I'll say dev. It throws an error immediately. Inspect and see. It types the dev correctly. and it's saying intermediate value dot two lowercase is not a function. So let's go and fix this. And if I come to my code, I can clearly see the include spelling is wrong. Method name should be includes. Let's deploy this again. And in and now let's type. So now you see in the name field we don't have any DEV. That's why it's not returning any data. But if I go back and say select here title, here then I'll say DEV, still not returning. Let's fix our logic. So I'm back to my VS Code, not returning. And the reason for that is filter by value is not setting correctly, because here instead of event.target.value I was setting the name. So if I was setting the name is filter by, that was our another mistake. Let's deploy this again and see. I hope this time it work. Deployed now. Let's page. So let's filter by name first. So I'll say 0. So it's giving the name 0 hero. That's fine. Then we'll go and clear the filter. We'll go to title, and this time we'll type dev de. So now we are filtering it based on the title. And if we clear this out and we'll say email, and I'll type some email SEAN. SE is available here as well as here. That's why the two emails are coming. I type the full letter, it's, but there is one more issue just now I observed. So if I clear this filter, right, sometimes it's not upload or give us the whole data back. And the reason for that is the place where we are clearing the timeout. So the time our value is undefined, and it will go and it try to update quickly, but after 5 seconds the previous timeout runs and it will call the filter this filter data again and render the half data. So what we need to do is we have to always clear our timeout outside the value. So that's it, and this is our whole logic, and you can reuse this function in your real-time project. It will work totally fine. I'll put the comments here below. Logic will filter only now. I'll do this, I'll clean it up and by this. So that's how we play with the filtering. I showed you all types of filtering. You can go with all scenarios, you can go with the each filter type scenarios, and you can use the same filtering for your data table as well. There also it will work exactly the same. And for performance optimization we are using the debounce technique, that is window.set timeout. Here we are giving some delay every time you type something. We are giving 500 millisecond delay, and if there is no data we are updating the filter data with the full data. And the actual trick of filtering is the full data. So always store your data in two places, one as a source of truth that you never gonna change, and the second property should contain the data that always gonna change, which means the filtered data. Every time you type something the updated data should store in this. And in the HTML we have created a combo box. We have created a input field on typing. In this input field we are updating the our filter data and we are re-rendering the. So that's how our filtering work in LWC, and that's it for this video, and in the next video we'll see how to achieve the sorting. I'll see you in the next video.